Hi everyone, welcome back to another Disis19 Diaries entry. I'm Di, and this will be my first reading vlog for my light novel November kind of reading event. So for the last several years, I've been doing light novel November. It's just kind of a personal challenge for me, where in November I focus my reading on light novels. I do this because I tend not to reach for my light novels that I collect during my manga hauls and things like that, and I really need to read them. And so I try to at least make it a point to read several of them in the month of November, and so I'm continuing that tradition this year. So I am coming to you at the very beginning of November. It's actually November 3rd today, and I have started my very first light novel for the month. And so the light novel I decided to start with was SCP Foundation, Iris Through the Looking Glass, light novel volume 1. This one is by Akira with illustrations by Shidu. I am actually listening to the audiobook version, and the reason I'm listening to the audiobook version is because it's available as part of the Audible Plus program, which is another subscription that I have that I don't use. And so they actually have a bunch of Seven Seas light novels on their service to read. So I've got a bunch of them in my library. So we'll see. Maybe I'll listen to a bunch of those this month, but I do intend on reading actual physical light novels as well. In any case, I started this one during my lunch break. It is being narrated by Michael Crouch. So far, I am really enjoying it. I'm a few chapters in. I was only able to listen for a little bit during my lunch break today. But basically, it's about this boy who, and I'm just going to go ahead and read you the summary because I think the summary is done really well. An ordinary boy who encounters the paranormal when a photo of the same girl inexplicably shows up in every book he opens. One day, the girl reaches out and pulls him into the photo, into her cell, in a top-secret facility belonging to the SCP Foundation, an organization dedicated to the research and containment of people, objects, and phenomena that defy reality. Even they've deemed him a threat to be contained, and he's going to have to work with them if he ever wants to see the outside world again. So I am past the part right now where he's been pulled into the world, and it's kind of strange, if I'm honest. I don't know, it's a bit comedic. It definitely is comedic. But at the same time, there's really strange things going on because he doesn't really know what's happened. He is just kind of trying to acclimate himself to where he is, and he's already being introduced to some of the kind of cool but strange things that they have at this facility. And there's this weird doctor guy, and so yeah, it is interesting. I'm enjoying it. I don't know how I missed this because it definitely, when I was reading through the summary and putting all of these audiobooks from Audible Plus into my library, I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds like it's going to be right down my alley. But for whatever reason, it came out in January, and I didn't put it on the list to pick up. I haven't picked it up, but I also haven't seen it out in the wild. And so I don't know, maybe that's why, but I'm enjoying this one so far. It's definitely entertaining. The narration is also very entertaining, and I'm enjoying it a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this story goes. And so, yeah, that is what I'm starting off light novel November with. Hopefully, it's not going to take me too long to get through this one. I kind of have lofty goals as far as how many light novels I'd like to finish this month, especially because I do feel like I've neglected some light novels this year, ones that I've probably put on TBRs and never read and things like that. Light novels that I have wanted to read for a long time. And so, yeah, I have a stack that I'd like to get through. And so we'll see how I do. But for now, this is the one that I'm starting with, and I think it was a good choice. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to continuing. And so I just wanted to check in and let you know what I was reading and what my kind of goals are for the month. All of the vlogs for this month will probably be in focus of Light Novel November, but of course I'll obviously have my Monochrome Manga Club selections in there as well. And so yeah, I am going to go have some dinner right now because I just got off of work a little while ago. And so I will check back in with you later. Hello. So I have finished SCP Investigations, Iris Through the Looking Glass. I really enjoyed it. I thought that the way that the story was presented was very entertaining. I did end up listening to the entire thing on audiobook because I don't have a physical copy. But I kind of wish that I did have a physical copy. There are definitely a couple things I'd like to revisit with this one. So I do think that I'm going to be adding a copy of this one to my personal collection. Really enjoyable. One of the stories was a little bit heartbreaking, and I've been thinking about it for a little bit, just with everything that had happened in that particular story. But I enjoyed seeing all of these special objects and how they go about investigating them. There's a little bit of a crossover into one of the things that they're investigating and another vlog project that I'm working on right now that you probably won't see until January, just because of how the timing is going right now as far as the projects that I'm doing for the end of the year, and not really matching up with that particular project. But in any case, I found it interesting that, I'm working on this project and then I'm reading a completely different book, and there's something in it that ties to this other book that I'm reading. And so, yeah, I thought that was really interesting. There's one thing that I kind of got irritated with as far as the audiobook narration goes. And it wasn't the narrator per se. I thought the narrator did a really good job, and I found him to be very entertaining. But at the very beginning of the audiobook, it tells you that some of the details have been redacted. And when those parts come about, it's going to play this particular sound, and it gives you a test sound. I didn't realize how much that sound was going to bother me the more I went through the book. So one of the things that's redacted is actually our main character's name. And so every time they refer to our main character, there's that sound. And I think the sound probably irritated me more than it would have if I was just reading a physical copy and saw the blacked out section. You know how they normally redact papers. But yeah, I think it is just because the audio sound that it makes just doesn't agree with me. I mean, it was okay, as I started the book, but as we got further and further, it was almost one of those points where it's just nails on a chalkboard for me. And it's not a really irritating sound. I don't know. I guess maybe it's one of those things where I'm kind of wondering what the redaction was, but at the same time, it's it's used a lot. And so the repetitiveness of the sound also was kind of a factor, I guess, in my growing irritation with it. But that was really the only issue I had with the audiobook. Other than that, I really enjoyed all of the stories. I enjoyed the creatures and the things that they were investigating and things like that. And I'm looking forward to reading the next one. I have found out that this is actually a thing that lots of people write about. I didn't dive too deep into what it is, but I did find some other short stories and things on Hoopla that have to do with SCP investigations. And so I think I'm probably going to read those because there were a couple of Christmas ones that I think would work really well for my December reading this year. But yeah, I was reading through some of the reviews after I had written mine on Goodreads, and a lot of people didn't care for this, but they also had previous experience with other stories that were written in this like world. And so I guess that most of their unhappiness had to do with the fact that they didn't think that this book portrayed the concept very well. And for me, I'm like so green in this whole thing that I just took it as like a regular like series. I had no idea that this is a much bigger thing from what I'm gathering. And so I'm kind of interested in looking into like what SCP Investigations actually is. But at the same time, I don't want it to spoil like my enjoyment of just being able to consume and read these stories, and have it be an enjoyable experience, you know? So yeah, I think the concept was really interesting, and like I said, I'm looking forward to reading the next installment. And I think I'm definitely going to like read that one physically because I do feel like, especially with the redactions and sometimes how it was irritating me, I might have missed something just because, you know, the audio kind of took me out of the moment and things like that. And I feel like in one particular instance, I didn't quite put a couple of things together in one of the stories that they presented. So I definitely want to go back and reread this one from a physical copy and pick up on those little nuances and things like that. But really, really interesting concept. Looking forward to experiencing more in this like universe of the SCP Investigations. And I'm really glad that I was able to borrow a copy of it from my Audible Plus subscription, because it's definitely something that I don't use often. But now that I know there are quite a few audiobooks from light novels available on this service, at least at the moment, I'm definitely going to be utilizing that throughout this month, especially when I'm trying to focus my reading on light novels. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, gave it 4 stars, and then today I started my next light novel. So I decided to start I Want to Eat Your Pancreas by Yoru Sumino. This one is published by 7 Seas Rated Teen. So I am listening to this via audiobook. It is another one of those light novels audiobooks that is available on the Audible Plus program. But as you can see, I do have a copy of the physical. I've actually had a copy of this on my shelf for a while. And it's kind of because I know this story is going to be sad. And I kind of need to be in a particular headspace in order to be able to consume a story like that. And I felt like now was the time. But this story is about 2 high school classmates. They both kind of work in the library. And one's a guy, one's a girl, and the guy ends up happening upon the girl's diary and ends up finding out that she has a terminal pancreatic disease. And so it kind of follows them in her last few months of life, getting to know each other and kind of just living. It's a very kind of slice of life story. You find out at the very, very beginning, like the first couple pages, that she's already passed. So it's not like it's a surprise. It's not like you're holding out hope that there's going to be a miracle. She did not make it. And so there's also the compound of our male character's grief, or how he's processing her loss. On top of this story where he's reflecting on how they met, how they spent time together and things like that. I listened to 3 chapters today during lunch. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Our male character is quite kind of, I don't want to use the word lazy, but he's very kind of the type of person that just takes life as it comes, doesn't like look for other things out of life, doesn't make friends, doesn't go out. And when he meets this girl like wants to live, you know, she knows that she only has a little bit of time. He's the only one outside of her family that knows that she has this disease. And so it's kind of her pushing him outside of his boundaries, making him live. And I presume we're going to see how that all impacts him towards the end of this book, right? So I'm enjoying it. It's a very kind of easy listen, but obviously with a sad undertone, because as you're going through, you know that she's already passed. And so, yes, now is the time for me to read this. A lot of Yoru's Sumino's work is on the Audible Plus program, but I don't think I can read more than one during this month. It's definitely the type of story that I need to like space out, because if I read too many at the same time, I think it will affect me emotionally. And so, yeah, I'm glad I'm finally getting to this one. And I don't really want to say I'm looking forward to like continuing it, but I'm enjoying my time experiencing this story. I think that's a better way to put it. So yeah, that's where I am with that. I'm making pretty good progress with the light novels so far. And so yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I had finished a light novel. I have started the next one. And so I'll probably be back once I finish I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. So I hope you're all having a good one, and I will chat with you later. So I've got an update for you. I have finished I Want to Eat Your Pancreas by Yoru Sumino. So this was a very good story. I really enjoyed it. It definitely brought a couple of tears to my eyes, which is kind of a hard thing to do. I normally don't tear up during stories that I read. I don't usually tear up when I watch movies. It's got to hit me with something special in order for it to hit those emotional chords within me, and this one definitely did. I knew going into it that it was going to be sad, but I didn't expect how the story was going to go, I think. And I really enjoyed the journey with our two characters. And even though this story is a sad one, you know kind of the outcome of what's going to happen because it is laid out for you in the very first chapter. There is a lot of lightness to the story and watching our two characters get to know each other and her kind of helping him to live. And so I really enjoyed watching them like eat food together and talk story and things like that. And then of course you've got the gravity of her illness, right? Really, really good story. I had no doubt that I would enjoy this one. It's just I need to make sure that I read stories like this in the right frame of mind when I'm emotionally stable enough to read something like this. And I thought now would be a good time to finally read this one. I have had it on my shelf for a while, and I'm really, really glad that I finally got to it. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Really enjoyed it. I would be interested to see an anime or a live action adaptation if I can find one. I did listen to most of this on audiobook, and I thought the narration was done very well, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I definitely recommend this one if you haven't read it. Light novel does not have any pictures in it, though, unfortunately. The only art we get is on the cover. But yes, really, really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to experiencing more stories by this author in the future because I do have several of their stories sitting on my shelves in light novel format. And so you'll probably see them every once in a while, but I don't think that I'm going to read another one this month because there's only so much seriousness I can handle in 1 month. But really, really good, and I definitely recommend this one. So because I finished my audiobook for that, I did start a new audiobook today. And that was Sword of the Demon Hunter by Motoo Nakanishi. This one is published by Airship, which is a 7 Seas, and is rated teen. So I'm about 4 chapters into this one, or 3 chapters in. I think there is a prologue, so I guess you could count that as 4. But anyway, we start this story when our main character is about 5 years old. And he is run away from home with his little sister because their father is physically abusing the little sister. And so to protect her, he runs away with her. And while they are walking along, they meet a man who ends up being a protector of a shrine maiden, and he offers them a place to live. He has a daughter that's about their same age, and so we kind of follow them growing up together and kind of learning what family is like, what family should be, and things like that. And then we fast forward several years, and that man has now been killed protecting the Shrine Maiden. The Shrine Maiden has also been killed, and the man's daughter ends up becoming the new Shrine Maiden. So now our main character is the protector of her. And so we're kind of following them in their roles as they're older and seeing how things are for them, what their duties are. And I feel like there's something kind of brewing that our main character is being kept in the dark about where I am. It's possible I might find out what it is in the next chapter. Something that was said makes me think that it might be revealed in the next chapter, but I'm just going to have to wait and see. But so far, I am really enjoying the storytelling in this one. I knew this one was probably going to be hit or miss for me because it is historical. I don't really enjoy historical stories, but I do find that when the historical story happens in like historical Japan or historical Korea, it's not as bothersome to me as historical like America. So far, really enjoying the story. Of course, we're not getting a lot of social commentary either because our characters are pretty isolated with what their jobs are. And so, yeah, I'm really interested to continue with this one. Obviously, this one's called Sword of the Demon Hunter. So there are demons in this story and in this world. And so it gives it a little bit of a supernatural element as well, which I really enjoy. So I'm looking forward to continuing with this one. Coincidentally, the narrator for this one is also the narrator that I listened to for I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. So I really enjoyed his narration, and I'm looking forward to experiencing this story with his narration as well. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. You know what? It's been a little while since we've done an unboxing. So let's do a blind box unboxing. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Okay, so I've had these Tayto Shark boxes sitting on the side for a little bit, and I've been really wanting to open them, and so I'm going to open them with you today. So this collection has 5 different shark characters that you can collect. I currently have a hammerhead and a tiger shark. So I still would like to have a great white, a whale shark, or a blue shark. So let's see who we've got in our 2 boxes. Okay, I can't remember if this one has a card, so I'm going to try not to look in the box and hold it this way when I pull out the bag. Okay. Here's the bag. It is a hard figure. And the pull tab is here, so let's see who we got. Oh, I think it's a great white. Yes. Yes, it's the great white. Look at that. Very, very cool. And these have a lot of like weight to them. So you could probably use them as a paperweight if you wanted to. But yes, very, very cute. Oh, I'm so happy. So that's my first one. There is no card inside, and there's no card inside this either. So that's good to know. That means I don't have to worry about spoiling myself when I open the next one. So let's see who we've got in box number 2. Oh, so happy to have that great white. Definitely one that I really, really wanted to have. Okay. Here we go. Bag number 2. And we've got a pull tab here. I'm going to try to push down the figure just so that it doesn't pop up when I pull open the bag. And we have... Oh, we have a duplicate. This is the tiger. So I do already have this one. Very, very cute though. So I'm probably going to give this one to my daughter. But yeah, really, really excited to have a new one and a duplicate. So these are so cute though. I really, really enjoy these. So yeah, 2 Tayto Sharks. Very, very happy. So that was really, really exciting. Definitely a bright spot to my day. And so I think that's pretty much all I have for you today. I'll probably be back with you once I'm finished Sword of the Demon Hunter. But until then, I hope you're having a good one, and I will talk to you later. Hello! So I am here to wrap up this reading vlog. So since I talked to you last, we had our Monochrome Manga Club meeting. And so I'm going to share with you my thoughts on those because it kind of is in the same vein of the light novels. I kind of feel like I'm okay keeping the manga thoughts in here because, again, it's kind of along the same vein. And so I'll talk to you about that first. So I just finished filming the first impressions videos for the 2 first in a series selections, which were Beyblade X Volume 1 by Homura, Kawamoto, and Hikaru Muno, art by Posuka, Demizu. This one is published by Viz, rated all ages. And then Volume 1 of The God-Slaying Demon King by Ezogingitune, art by Pig Third, and character designs by Teddy. This one's published by Square Enix Manga, rated older teen. So if you'd like to hear my thoughts on these, you can definitely check out the video, which is linked down in the description box below. But I will say that I enjoyed both of them, but not to the same extent. So I ended up giving Beyblade 4 stars, and ended up giving the God-Slaying Demon King 3.5 stars. But like I said, for more details on that, you can check out my first impressions video. Now for the series reads, because I don't share my thoughts on those things in the first impressions video because we're not at the beginning of the series. So let's start off with Tokyo Revengers. This cover is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. In any case, we are 3 volumes away from the end. So this particular one, I've been saying for the last few months that the only thing you can depend on with this series is that there's going to be fighting and character death, and that doesn't hold true for this volume. So there's no character death. But it does kind of stretch the character death that was in the previous omnibus into this one. So that one hurt quite a bit because, as I'd mentioned before, the character that dies in that volume was one of my favorites. And so in this one, things are definitely like feeling like they're gonna get to that point where we're starting to wrap things up and the final like things are happening to culminate this story. It was very interesting. I had a really good time reading it, always entertaining. And it was interesting to see how things were kind of evolving, where things are kind of going. And I'm really interested to see how this story is going to end. I'm a little bit scared, I'm not going to lie. I think that because this volume didn't have character death, we might be in for a lot of character death in the next volume. But, you know, I'm in it for the journey, and I'm looking forward to finishing this series and seeing how this all ends. And hopefully my heart doesn't break too much. So, really enjoyed this. Still only a 4-star, though. I have a feeling as I reread this series, because I will, probably not right away, but eventually, the ratings will probably creep up. But as of right now, it's still sitting at a 4-star for me. It's not quite hitting the 5-star yet. But I will say that the conversations that I have been having with our members has been really, really enhancing my read-through of this series. And I'm so glad that they are so passionate about this story. And just the amount of enthusiasm that comes out when we're talking about this series is like next level. And it really, really enhances my read through of this one. And so yes, and they're very, very good about making sure that they don't spoil us about what may lie ahead. And so I really, really appreciate that as well. But really looking forward to continuing that one and finishing it in December. So then let's talk about the 3 volumes of Haikyu that we read. Haikyu volume 37, 38, and 39 by Haruichi Furudate. This one is published by Viz, rated teen. And so we actually see parts of 3 games in these volumes. So we have the ending of the dumpster battle, Karasuno versus Nekuma. We have Fukurodani versus Mujinzaka. And then we have the start of the Karasuno versus Kamomedai game. Really, really good section of the series. Lots of sports action. As you know, I really, really enjoyed the dumpster battle. I've told you before, we went to go see the movie 3 times in theaters. And again, when reading the end of that game, there is a scene at the end after the game is all over that just makes me tear up every single time. And it was no exception when I read this volume. And it's not something that happens to me a lot. I really have to be connected to the story and the characters. And so that's how you know that I really, really enjoy this one. And so, yes, was a little bit teary-eyed at the end of the Nekoma versus Karasuno game. And so, yes, really, really enjoying this. Looking forward to continuing. And just, like, really, really interesting stuff happening. Plus, we get finally to meet the original Little Giant, who had been hailed from the beginning of the series in these volumes. So that was really nice. I really, really appreciate how the mangaka is kind of like bringing everything in circle. And so, yes, such an enjoyable series. Really looking forward to continuing that one. Obviously, I gave that one 5 stars. And so, yeah, those were the titles that I read for the Monochrome Manga Club. And then I did finish one more light novel to wrap things up. And so I finished Sword of the Demon Hunter by Motoo Nakanishi. And so I really enjoyed this one. It kind of had a familiar feel. Even though it was historical, I think because it's not like American historical, like I said, I think that's what really helped me to enjoy this. And one of the like really popular historical stories that I have enjoyed in the past is Inuyasha. And there are some similarities with this story. I mean, you've got the Shrine Maidens, you've got a world where there are demons and demon slayers and things like that. And so I did definitely feel like the story was a bit familiar, set in a kind of similar time frame. And I enjoyed the journey that our main character is on. You definitely know, like early on in the story, kind of the trajectory of where the story is going to go. You just, at least for me, I knew. There are certain phrases that were used that kind of lend a hint as to where the story is going to go. But it doesn't like explicitly tell you how that's going to happen. So I enjoyed getting to that point. Though there was a tiny detail in how all of that comes about that I really, really didn't like. But I don't know. I just don't understand why that particular detail was used. But in any case, it was used to kind of bring the trajectory of the journey to where it is. And so, yeah, that was the only kind of disappointment in it. I did also kind of not enjoy a little bit of kind of the morality of the story, because in this time period, we've got 2 of the characters who have a pretty long conversation that is basically about love of country being greater than love between partners, I guess. And it was a little bit frustrating for me, like reading through that. Like I understand, especially with the time period, that thoughts definitely ran that way. But you could just like see how much these characters were like giving up because the love of their country or their town was so great. But yeah, definitely an interesting story. I was surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did because, like I said, it is historical, and I don't usually get along with those stories, but I think I am going to continue. I don't believe I'm going to be picking up anymore, at least not at this time, but a lot of the audiobook versions are available on Audible Plus, which is part of the subscription that I have. And so since they're available to me as part of a subscription, I might as well go ahead and use that benefit, right? So I think I will be continuing this one on audio. Like I said before, it was narrated by the same narrator who did I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, and I really enjoyed his narration. He's got kind of this really like soothing kind of tone, and the way he delivers lines I enjoy. And so I'm looking forward to continuing with that. And I ended up giving this one 4 stars. The cover on this one is really gorgeous. Like, you can see our main character here, Shrine Maiden, and his little sister. So actually these are like our 3 main characters in the story, because I told you that this guy and his little sister ran away from home right at the beginning when they were kids. And so we follow them through a time jump when they get older, and we end up with them being here. And then the Shrine Maiden is the little girl who was the daughter of the Shrine Maiden protector who welcomed them into his home. And so now she is the Shrine Maiden, and he is her protector. And so, yes, gorgeous, gorgeous covers. And so I'm looking forward to continuing with our characters on their journey. I think I should probably also mention at the end of the story, there were 2 chapters that kind of, I don't know, they felt a little bit strange to me. The first of the 2 chapters is basically like a summarized version of what had happened in this story, but I think it is like a folk tale that this story is based on. It's called The Interlude. It says What Remains. And so at the bottom part of that section where the summarization of the story ends, it is told a little bit differently, but it says The Princess and the Blue Demon, Spirit Tales of Ancient Japan by Kono Publishing. And so it says the story was passed down through the village that's mentioned in this book, which is now Kadono City of Hyogo Prefecture. So I'm not quite sure why that was included, if they just wanted us to know that it was based on this tale. But after that story, there is another kind of story that I'm wondering if that will connect like much further on in the story, or if it's gonna like come up in the next installment. So I'm a little bit curious about that, but the jump kind of felt a little weird. So I'm again very interested to see if any of that's going to connect and why it was included at the end of the story. And then the last chapter is called Side Story Embodiment of Jealousy. This one kind of feels like it should have been slotted within the main story, because it does happen in a section of time where it would have been really easy to slip it in like as part of the linear story, but it does include our 3 characters. And so, yeah, I'm not quite sure why that one was like that either, other than to give us a little bit more time with the characters maybe, but I still really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to continuing. And so that's everything that I've read for this reading vlog. I have read 3 light novels for this reading vlog, so it's not too shabby. I would have preferred if I could get through 1 more, but that's okay. It's okay. Things this month have been a little bit more stressful than usual, and I haven't really been able to get as much B-roll as I've had in previous reading vlogs because I haven't been doing much because work has been very stressful. And so to kind of pad the vlog a little bit, I guess I'll do a little bit of show and tell. I did plan on filming my manga haul like I have been doing for the last few months. But this last time after the Monochrome Manga Club meeting, because we're almost finished with Tokyo Revengers, I was shopping and talking with the members, trying to decide on what our next series read is going to be, or at least get some suggestions. And so I didn't want to film while I was talking to them. And so, yeah, I ended up not filming any of that. So no preview for my December manga haul, but I do have some things to share with you that are things that I haven't really shared with you in a while. And so I have been doing some knitting. I know, right? It's been quite a while since you've seen some knitting from me. I have been in a lot of pain on and off for the last few months, where it's the type of pain that I didn't want to exacerbate by knitting. But I have just really, really wanted to knit the last month or so. And the fact that I couldn't because I was in pain just really irritated me. But I finally felt well enough to do a little bit of knitting. So let me just show you what I was able to do. I'm obviously not knitting as much yet. I'm trying to get back to that point. But this time of the year always really brings out my knitting mojo. I think it's part of the season, right? A lot of creators, especially yarn enthusiasts, are doing like Advent prep and what they're gonna be working on in December. A lot of them have Advent projects where they pick a project to work on every day and things like that. And so there's a lot of enthusiasm, and that enthusiasm really gets to me. It really helps my knitting mojo a lot. I do have an Advent calendar this year. I don't know if I will be opening them in shorts or not. Just the way that things are right now and the timing, I don't know that I'm going to have time to film those and get those all up. We'll just have to see. But if I don't do that, I will be sharing the mini skeins in these diary entries. In any case, the knitting that I have done. So I have put in a couple of rows on my daughter's Ridge Crest pullover. So this is basically a offset rib sweater. The pattern is by Melanie Asato from the Big Little Yarn Company. And I had test knit this one for her before she published it. Mine, you've seen me wear it a couple times. It's actually a kind of foresty green color. But this is one of those like customizable types of patterns where you pick your length of body, you pick the style of sleeve that you want, and you also pick the type of neckline. And so whereas mine was full body, bell sleeve, and off the shoulder, or scoop neck, it lays off the shoulder for me because the neck is so wide. My daughter is going for the more traditional look where it's full body, tapered sleeve, and your regular like sport neck. And so, yes. So obviously I still have a lot to go. But I think I was here the last time, and so I'm here now. So not too much, but some is better than none. And so this is just going to be one of those things that is going to take me a while because it is 1x1 ribbing. But it's going to take as long as it does. So I'm glad to have gotten a little bit of work done on it. I took it to the office a couple of times when I had to go to the office for meetings. And it's like one of those things that's really easy because, you know, it's 1x1 rib, right? And I've got tons of it that I need to do. And so it's something that's really easy as an office project. And so, yeah. And this is from Fangirl Fibers from her Twilight countdown last year. Was it last year, I think? So this is a stitch marker, and it says, "How you liking the rain, girl?" And so, yeah. So this I am doing in Knit Picks palette in the colorway Abyss Heather. And so it is a navy, but it's got a thread of black running through it. You can barely see it on the screen, but it is really, really pretty and definitely goes with my daughter's aesthetic. And so this is where I'm at I believe this is my first ball. And so, yeah, working away on that. And so I think I'm going to continue with that one as kind of my main project for December, just because it's nice and easy, something that I don't have to put a lot of thought into. And I am finding that that's the type of project that I really need right now with all of the stress that I have. As far as my, job transfer, it hasn't gone smoothly. I'm still not transferred, and there's been a lot of stress, a lot of irritation, and just a lot of disappointment in how that's going for me. And so, yeah, it's not helping. But, I'm finding joy in knitting again. And so I'm really happy about that. And hopefully I'll have another something done before the end of this year. But yes, I don't think that I'm going to be having an advent project because I don't think I can muster that much enthusiasm or concentration. But I am a Bakery Bears patron. I think I mentioned that to you guys before. And so I'm really looking forward to their advent calendar. They do an advent calendar for patrons every year, which is basically just a video every day. And there's a knit along. There's a mystery knit along that goes along with that every year. I often try to start and complete that knit along, and I'm pretty successful at starting it, but I'm never successful in completing it. I think I've only completed once. And so, I don't know. This year, I'm interested because the project type is something that she hasn't done before as a mystery knit along for the patrons or any mystery knit along, actually. And so, I'm very curious. But we'll just have to see. I don't think that I'm going to have enough concentration to be able to do that. But maybe I might try to do it over the next year. We'll have to see. But I have a ton of whips that I'd really like to get to. And so I should probably get to those first. But at this point, I think I really need to just go where my interest is, because that will help me to continue to do a little bit of knitting. Which kind of brings along this project here. So this is my Christmassy sock bag by Pineapple Yarn. It was a gift with my very first Yarn Advent purchase. And so in this, there's another project for my daughter. And I think that's also helping with my enthusiasm for knitting, because I'm finding that if I'm making it for somebody else, it definitely makes me want to pick it up more. Whereas if I'm making it for myself, I feel like, oh, there's always time for that, which I guess is not really a good outlook, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. So 'tis the season. I am working on my daughter's Christmas socks. I try to make my daughter a pair of Christmas socks every year, and I usually have them done by now, and my knitting mojo has been in the gutter all year practically, and so I finally got up the enthusiasm to cast those on. So let me just untangle this a little bit. this is where I'm at. So this is my daughter's Christmas socks. And you must be wondering why I am doing it this way. So I don't even have two of the same types of needles. So these are on Addy Flexi Flips, and these are on Haya Sharps. 2.75 millimeter, 56 stitches. So I usually do my daughter's socks in a 2.25 millimeter, 56 stitches. But these are going to be house/sleep socks for her. So they can be a little bit more oversized. And so that's what we're doing with this. Now, why am I doing it this way? Well, that is because I only have this much Christmas yarn. So I wanted to make sure that I used up as much as I could of this yarn. So I'm alternating doing the socks. So I'll do one round with this and one round with this. I am pulling from the outside and the inside. So I think I just dropped the ball. The Haya Sharps are the inside and the Flexi Flips are the outside. And so they almost look about the same as where I started both of them. So they're just a little bit off. I thought they'd be opposite because of the way I'm pulling the yarn, but I'm not complaining. It doesn't really matter to me, and it doesn't matter to my daughter at all. But you can see that there is a difference, whereas the Haya Sharps is just a little bit tighter than the Flexi Flips. I do not enjoy the Haya Sharps. I do push the needle when I'm working, and this really hurts. It really hurts. I do have some like rubber finger protectors somewhere, but I just don't know where they are because this is only the second time I've used the Haya Sharps because they hurt so much. But yeah, daughter's Christmas socks are on the way, and I don't even know, do I have the label? I think I do. Okay, here we go. So that yarn is Mali Socks, and it's a German word, something edition, by Furudate. And this one is made in Austria, 150 grams, 450 meters. It's 75% virgin wool superwash, 25% polyamide. And the colorway is 24-12-20. So I have, oh, that light is just, there we go. 24-12-20 is the color. And so, yeah, I've done one pair of socks for me. I've done one pair of socks for my mom. And now with the leftovers, I'm doing my daughter's socks. So once I run out of that Christmas colorway, the rest of the sock is going to be in the patent croy. And this is in the muslin colorway. And so these are 75% washable wool and 25% nylon. 152 meters, 166 yards. And so I thought that might just go well, especially because they're just going to be house or sleep socks. And so, yeah, so as soon as I run out of the Christmassy yarn, this will go in. And then the daughter said she wanted to have a little bit of a color boost. And so we're going to go ahead with this. This is going to be for the heels and toes. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to double it up because the Croy socks is a bit of a thicker fingering weight, and so is the Mali socks. And so I'm probably going to double this up to do the heels and toes, just so that the heels and toes don't feel flimsy, with the rest of the sock being in that thicker weight yarn. And so, yeah, this is just a Cascade Heritage. I am not sure what the color is, but it leans more of a blue, kind of sprucey green. So, yeah. So I am happily working along with that. And so really, really enjoying that project. It's easy. I get the interest from the self-striping, and it's just really like a not super thought detailed project, because it's just going to be a plain stockinette sock. And at this point, I think I've done enough of those where I don't really have to like reference anything or anything like that. The only thing I really have to reference is the stitch count for the heel flap, because it's a little bit different from what I usually do for myself. And so, yeah, these will have your traditional heel flap and gusset. I'm going to put in my lightning toe, which is basically just a tapered, rounded toe. And so, yes, I'm looking forward to completing these for her. And so that is everything that I've been up to. We haven't really been going to the arcade. I think there might have been a little bit of arcade footage in this one. At this point, I'm not even sure, because, like I said, work has been very busy. I've been going to the office every week for meetings. I've had several just virtual meetings, and I've been working tons of hours, which is just another frustration that I've been having with work lately, because I'm still not transitioned. But on the bright side, I am on vacation now. So I always take vacation at this time of the year just to get my mental facilities back. It's basically an extended mental health break, if you will, because work is so stressful for me in the month of December, because we have a lot of clients that need things at the beginning of the year, and obviously prep for all of the things that they need starts early, and it just ramps up the closer and closer we get to the due date. And so, yeah, I always take a couple of weeks at this time of the year to relax, de-stress, and just kind of get back to a more functioning state of mind. I did work a 12-hour day yesterday, with a 1-hour lunch break, which wasn't even a 1-hour lunch break, which was actually only a 20-minute lunch break, because that's how much stuff I had to wrap up. It is what it is. But I am free now from work for a couple of weeks, which should definitely help my spirits go up, right? De-stress, relax. We are definitely doing something fun and exciting. And so you should be able to see some of that in the next reading vlog. But I'm excited. I'm excited to not have to work. And hopefully, at least the trajectory says that my move to my new position should be done by time I get back to the office after my vacation. So fingers crossed that that happens, because with that transition, that will mean that a lot of stress will be taken off of my plate. And that's exactly why I'm transitioning into that position. That was the whole goal. And so, yes, taking steps to try to de-stress my life, but I'm really glad to not be working for the next couple of weeks. With that being said, I think I'm going to close out this reading vlog here. I hope you guys have enjoyed your November. This video, I believe, will go up the day before Thanksgiving. So if you're getting together with friends and family, I hope you enjoy. If you're not and you're enjoying your quiet time to yourself, I hope you enjoy that too. Us personally, we don't do much. We are spending time with my uncle this year, so that will be nice. He usually has other plans for Thanksgiving, but not this year. So we're going to spend some time with him. And so that'll be nice. In any case, let me know down in the comments below what you've been up to, what you've been reading. What has been your favorite read of November so far? Do you have some big plans for the end of the year? I would really love to know. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you are here, if you could leave me a sword. Is there a sword emoji? for Sword of the Demon Hunter down in the comments below. It would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out, and that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy, and until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.